Which 3 altcoins should you be holding in your portfolio right now? I got 3. Rob's got 3. ChatGPT's got 3. And, I asked my friend here to give me some insight into his picks, and his response was, well, it's a secret. It's a surprise. God knows how this show is going to end up turning out. We're going to talk a little bit about Ethereum. And when I say a little bit, I mean a lot of it. What's happening? More treasury companies are popping up. One altcoin that might surprise you that got a $25 million treasury. Also, the age of layer ones. Why Circle and Stripe, instead of building on top of an existing layer one, have decided to launch their own layer one. Who's this good for? Who's this bad for? And who does this take out of business? We're going to have that conversation. Also, big shout out to the Snackies. Big listing yesterday/today. We'll talk about that. We got MATIC joining us to break down the charts. We have that and much, much more on today's episode of 10 City Crypto. Let's go.
Hola! Is your boy Big Rob back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto, where we take old, boring, stale information, repackage it up in a fun, handsome, Sin City kind of way. You know what? ETH is ripping. If you've ever been unsure about altcoin season, well, it's solidified. It's right there because ETH is about to break all-time highs. Previous all-time high was 440, basically 4,600. I think we saw it at 4,800 somewhere.
Almost 5K.
Yeah, it didn't quite hit 5K, but we're right there knocking on the doorstep. 5K will be resistance. It has moved. You look on the 1 month here, it's moved just in the last 30 days from 2,900 up to 4,500. It's going to meet resistance at 5K.
What's the percentage gain on that?
We're at 50%. So 50% rip in just 4 weeks. Guys, really nice returns.
I mean, you guys understand that we're not talking about a $100 million project that almost doubles, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about a $400 billion asset that is up 50% in what, 30 days? What was the time?
Yeah,
50%. 30 days, okay? 30 days. So this is a pretty massive move. I do want to go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, this is the biggest thing for me, right? We can go through headlines. We can talk about like what bullish narratives, our favorite 3 coins, well, whatever it is. We got a lot coming in down the pipeline, but to take it away, to boil it down in the simplest ways you could possibly think, that there is a bullish scenario that is unwinding here, and it is that altcoin season is here. And it is being kicked off by ETH. This has been the one thing we've been waiting for over the last 4 years, right? Ever since ETH fell off of its previous all-time high, it's just been trading down. It's finally back to its all-time highs. It is a signal that the rest of your portfolio outside of Bitcoin should rally pretty well. Not everything's going to rally, but it's going to be good, man. It's going to all the important projects are going to pump.
Nah, bro says seem like the dino coins are waking up. What's your favorite dinosaur, by the way? You look like a Stegosaurus kind of guy.
I like the one that has the
long neck.
No, the one that does that. You know what I'm talking about? That spits the venom. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I think that's from a movie. Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Okay. Yesterday we mentioned CPI was coming in today. Well, CPI came in today, and it came in as expected. Actual 2.7, estimated 2.8. In fact, it beat the estimations. Robin didn't do shit. Last month 2.7. Today 2.7. We saw a little bit of a rally, and then nothing happened.
Remember yesterday you asked me what I think is going to happen? I said it's going to come in just slightly under the estimate, and it was also...
The man strikes again. You know what?
And I also said that the S&P 500, I said, hey, if you watch yesterday's show, I said, look, I think it's going to come in just slightly under an estimated number, and then we'll see the stock markets go up 1%, maybe 1.5%. I think... If I had to give you an estimate,
Rob Stradamus strikes again.
I think if I had to give you an estimate or a prediction on what we're going to see this week, I think that we get to 117 today. I think we stay at 117 tomorrow. I think come Friday, we are at 118.5. Then Saturday or Sunday night, we have the big breakout to above 120. And we walk in here on Monday next week at above 120.
186?
No, 128, 121. Oh, thank you. Appreciate you.
Rob Stradamus strikes again. But I might actually, when you give your top 3, I might actually buy some. Yeah.
Well, the thing is when it came to the CPI, we're always pretty spot on, right? We never had like a big print that was way off. No, I don't want to say never had. We've had historically, I think we've been off by like 0.5%.
Here's the thing. Unless you look forward 3 months and then they revise the numbers down by like 600,000 jobs, then yeah.
But you know what? I mean, my question is are we going to get up above that 120 and get into price discovery? No, we're back again. I'm still on that 60-40 percentile on whether or not we do break into some really nice green candles by the end of the week. I'm just curious to see what this one, if we get above this 120 by, I would say, the end of the day today, then I'm all in on getting to 130. I think if we come in tomorrow and we're still under 120, we don't have enough momentum to carry us this week at least. So
carry on my wayward son. My singing's so good that's probably going to get flagged for copyright. Anyways, I do want to share some very bullish news. Look at this from SEC Chair Paul Atkins. Says the closure of the SEC versus Ripple case creates opportunity to, quote, shift energy from courtroom to policy drafting table and build clear regulatory framework that fosters innovation while protecting investors. I'm going to get Rob's thoughts in a second, but first, I want to get your thoughts. Hopefully they're good thoughts. We want to give a big thank you to our channel sponsor, stake.us. Well, you guys know we're big stake fans here. And so if you want to have some fun, win some free stake cash, or you can play with your gold coins. And then, well, redeem it for crypto. Look no further than stake.us. Poker, blackjack, roulette. You know, I keep seeing these like roulette strategies where you like take X amount of money and you strategically place it and then you have like a 96% chance. I think in my next video, I'm going to try that out. Yeah. So subscribe to the channel, create an account. You also get a daily bonus of 1 free stake cash every single day you log in. Links in the description. Big thank you to Stake for sponsoring the channel. Rob, I want to ask you. I know last week when I shared the news, you were like, is it over? It's over. I mean, the SEC chair.
Yeah.
Right. That kind of puts in it. Okay. Now, looking forward, obviously this benefits XRP. Is there any like long tail benefits to maybe projects or companies or just maybe it's bullish for the US in general? Like, what do you take from this news that it's finally over? We know it's bullish for Ripple. Who else is it bullish for? And are you like how are you looking to use this?
I wouldn't single out any particular blockchains. I mean, other than XRP is going to be the ultimate winner in this, at least the number one.
Good,
but I just think it's just really a signal for the U.S. and it's what was its regulatory arm of the SEC that was using regulation by enforcement. Basically, hey, we'll make up the rules as we go. We don't want to have any crypto built here in the U.S. Anything outside of Bitcoin, we're going to attempt to sue you and shut you down. And that's a very stark contrast from where we're at now. Pretty much all of the large court cases that I'm familiar with have been dropped already. This being kind of the last one. It was essentially an appeal, so it wasn't really a court case. This one has come to an end as well. And so
is this bullish for American users, for U.S. users? I
mean, why wouldn't it be?
I mean, think about all the airdrops, all the platforms we can't use, or we had to try to, I don't want to say the word because
there's going to be nothing that's off limits in the U.S. Currently, we struggle with trading, leverage trading. There is a lack of altcoins that are listed on the exchanges. the U.S. based exchanges.
I mean,
there's less liquidity.
Look what Coinbase just did. They literally said every single token that is on the Base network people that have a Coinbase account will not be able to buy.
Yeah.
So super bullish. I agree. Yeah, I mean, this was a long time coming. We knew it was going to happen, and yeah.
Why did we use DEXs for so long? Think of it this way. Why was DEXs so important back in 2020?
Buy the tokens.
Exactly. And so that amount of transactions that were leaving the centralized exchanges are going to go back. Now, I am hyper bullish on decentralized finance. I don't think that's going anywhere, but I do think that as new users come in, remember when someone new decided they want to buy some high-risk crypto? You had to explain to them back in 2021. You had to say, hey, like, if you want it, you got to buy some stable coins from Base, or excuse me, from Coinbase or Binance or wherever it was at the time, FTX or Voyager, and then send it off into this, layer 1 DEX, and then swap there. You had to do all this explaining for the newbie.
Yep.
Most of the time, they lost their money. They paid way too much they got front run, too high of gas fees. There was just multiple exploits for this newcomer. Now, DEXs are still going to be used. DEXs are still going to be a prominent way of transacting. But I think the new user, instead of coming on saying, hey, I want to buy this high-risk crypto, and let me ask my crypto degen buddy how to do that, I think they're just going to just buy it right off Coinbase. Yeah. Or buy it right off of Binance, or buy it right off of the Kraken, or wherever it is.
That's always been my biggest sticking point is you got to make it practical. It's a complicated space, right? When I sit there and I have a conversation with someone, obviously, like I know, I'd probably say Rob and I, and probably you guys watching too, we know more about crypto than 98% of the population as far as having an in-depth conversation, not just surface level. And when you try to talk to someone, it gets very confusing. You can just see their souls leave their bodies when you start explaining certain things like, okay, I'm wasting my time. They have zero idea what I'm talking about. I'm probably scaring them away from investing in the space. And because it's the process of, well, you got to do this and buy this and this, and then they mess up and they're like, hey, well, what do I do? I lost some money. So I'm all about practicality and making it easy for the new user. Everyone talks about onboarding the next billion users. Cool. Do you have a front end that can onboard and not confuse the shit out of the new user? And I think this is the direction we're going in. And I'll tell you what, man, we have been getting a lot of foreign exchanges, large ones, that are starting to reach out to US-based content creators to get a share of the US market. If I were to show you some of the offers that we've been getting, I can't imagine some of the offers that other channels have been getting as far as wanting to get their brand in the United States. And it's going to benefit you. It's going to benefit us. It's going to benefit the company that's coming in. It's essentially going to be the race to the top. Who's going to be the first one to get brand recognition and to get customer acquisition? And that's where we're going. And again, if you're in the United States of America, I know we have a global audience here, but I think our demographics are like 45 to 48% is based in the United States. It's about to get a lot easier to make money and play around in the crypto ecosystem. And so exciting times are ahead. Rob, why don't let me share this, and then why don't you queue up the markets, and then we'll bring Magic on here. So you guys know probably my favorite, actually not probably, this is my favorite meme coin community. Snek is officially listed on KuCoin. Shout out to the Sneckies. But saw some of you at Rare Evo this past week. Shout out to you guys. Snek has done wonders for Cardano. I love Snek. I love the people. I'm a holder myself. And so shout out to you guys. And with that being said, I'm going to send it over to Rob. Let's take a look at the markets. Rob, I know Chainlink was seeing a really, really nice rally today.
Yeah, so we have, as mentioned at the beginning of the show, Bitcoin at that 19.5. We'll keep a close eye on this, see if it breaks up above the 120 mark. ETH, as I was saying, is performing very, very well. This is the 1 week chart. This is a 7-day chart. Okay. 3,500 to 4,500 all over the course of 7 days. So it has gained $1,000, up 25% just in the 7 days. So you're starting to see the momentum really catch up, and it's really accelerated here just in the last.
Let's stay on.
Yeah, I mean, just in the last 4 hours.
Let's stay on ETH for a second. So you think it gets to 5K, sees a pullback?
I don't know about a pullback. I just know it sees resistance. It's gonna see resistance.
Okay,
I think.
Where does it draw down to?
What if I had to put my money on it and kind of describe what the ETH chart will look like? It's going to go to 5,300 and then pull back to 49, 48, maybe bounce around at 47 briefly. But I do think it crosses above 5K, hangs out there, comes right back. I would say day and a half, 2.5 days above 5,000, and then we're back down to 49, 4,800. That's what I think is going to happen within the next 2 weeks.
You think the pullback's only going to be to like 2%?
Yeah, that's why you said and it's going to pull back. I said I don't think it's going to pull back. I think it's going to break all-time highs and then it's going to just come back down.
I think the pullback's going to be closer to 20%. So here's my ETH chart. Okay, I think the pullback, if we do get that rally up to 5K, which I'll be completely fine with, the pullback to this orange line, which is where we essentially quadruple topped 5,000. I want to see that level retested as support. You got to remember, Robin, who has been buying Ethereum? Who has been loading the crap out of ETH? It's the
institutions?
Correct. Yeah. And if they bought at $2,000 and $2,500, they're sitting on a 2x. You don't think there's going to be some profit taking?
I don't think so, man.
I think so.
I think if you look at ETH, when it does break out, it gets very dramatic. So here you have ETH going from $300 quickly up to 475. Small little pullback. And this is the pullbacks I'm referring to. A very small pullback. And then big leg again, 600. And then big leg again, 1,200. And then you just look here at last cycle, same thing, man. I mean, you're talking about giant moves and just way up and to the right. 600 to 1,200. That's a 2x. And then from 1,200 to 2,000. And then these big, and I'm not saying it's not going to pull back. I just think that it hasn't even moved yet. It hasn't even had that giant rally. Here's where, I mean, we did. I mean, if you look at it on a macro chart, you can say, hey, man, this thing just catapulted from 1,600 up to 4,500. But I mean, it's not even started yet. I genuinely don't believe that. I think it will get to 5,200, 5,300, and then it'll come back, just tap that 5K mark, and then off to the races. When I say tap 5K, I think it does trade under 5K briefly, but I don't think it's going to be very far down. I'm
curious to get Magic's take here in a second. I want to give a big shout out to my boy Jimmy. Haven't seen you in here in a while. What's up, Jimmy? How you doing, brother? I know Jimmy's been busy doing a lot of stuff. Jimmy, we love you. We miss you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Yeah, I'm curious to see what Magic's going to think. I'm curious to see if 5K is also the level he has mapped out on ETH as far as a potential retracement. So, yeah. What about the rest of the markets there, Rob? Anything else that kind of caught your eye? I don't even think, did we go through the top 24 gainers here?
I did not.
No?
Let me take a look here.
Yeah.
All right, so we have on the biggest gainers. I know Chainlink is here leading the pack. So we got Chainlink at 8% up just in the 24 hours. Been a lot of great news out of Chainlink. Now, Chainlink, you could say is also tied to the ETH ecosystem. I don't want to say you could say it is. It is. But at the same time, it's probably the most it's probably the biggest brand that has disassociated with ETH. And so a lot of people don't draw a correlation between Chainlink to ETH. But doing really well. Right behind it, AAVE up 6%.
Is that
and Polkadot, Polkadot up 6%.
Polkadot. Time to get a new logo there on CoinMarketCap, you know? Celebrate, bro. Spend another 400 grand.
And then Aerodrome still making moves. This one's up 60%. You look at
short yesterday.
Look at the biggest gainers here out of the week. So you got Lido and Aerodrome leading 1 and 2. I do think that DeFi is something that you should keep an eye on. Typically in these bull markets, you see entire sectors or entire verticals all rally together, right? We've seen it this bull market with AI. AI cryptos performed very well, and they kind of did so all in unison. The same thing with ETH-based products. Now we're starting to see DeFi kind of take off. Maybe something to keep an eye on. You know, we might see meme coins come by here soon. I would keep a close eye.
Meme coin news, bro. I got some meme coin news.
If you get maybe 2 big meme coins pop off, I think that meme coin euphoria is going to come back.
What do you think? Just profits are going to rotate?
Yeah, profits will rotate. I'm just curious on when. When is the big question. I feel like we're having a pump of quality at this moment, which we haven't yet seen.
Absolutely love the quality pumps. The best.
All right. Well, let's that's kind of what I got for the markets.
Cool. Let's bring on our guest. We missed him last week. We're not going to miss him this week. I mean, we miss him, but just not on the show. Magic Internet Money's joining us. Hello, Senor Magic. How about you?
Good, man. How are you?
I don't know why I went French there, but it's all good. Magic, let's just jump in, bro. Let's jump in. I want to start with Ethereum, okay? My dude Robin over here, his thesis is up to 5,200, down to 5K, then up. I think it's up to 5K, down to 4K, and then back up. What are you seeing on the ETH chart? What's more likely?
I kind of agree with you. This is something that we talked about a ways back here. There's a pattern at play. So looking for this like 5,100 up to about $5,600, $5,700 zone. It would be a butterfly pattern. Doesn't mean it's the end of the rally. You would just expect some kind of a retracement, and realistically, the B leg, which is kind of your where you're essentially consolidating underneath, which you can see is also your trend-based gold pocket. That's been your resistance. So 1-to-1 to 618, that's what you want to see. It's not a huge pullback in my opinion, but it will freak people out. It seems like people overreact quite a bit in this market right now. So,
okay. Anything else you're seeing on ETH, Magic? Are you seeing this rally being sustained? Any levels of resistance? I would say like immediately leading up to the 5K. I know we're only like $500 away, but yeah.
I mean, sure, if you want to keep an eye on like prior all-time high, but at this point, unless you're really giving up some key ground here, which I'll highlight on the weekly chart, that again, the trend from the prior cycle is what you're watching here. So when you look at something like this, you're just looking at the coordinates from the $81 low here to the prior all-time high to the current cycle low. And then you're looking to project a similar move. And so your gold pocket, for anyone that likes fibs, that was your resistance, as you can see here and here and here, and now it should be support. So anything below, give or take $3,800, things do start to kind of look like, hey, this could be a top, and we could be coming back down to that $2,800 range. But until that happens, I really think that you're probably just heading to 5K. Now, in terms of time, you can see that this is a pretty wonky and lopsided harmonic here. And I'll point that out. The reason it is because on something like this, there's a way to kind of gauge time. A lot of people don't like these because they're not, what's the word? The path between X to B here, this consolidation doesn't equal B to D. So they're not symmetrical. But you can start looking at things like impulses on an asset like this and saying, okay, so X to A, how long did it take to do this? And I'm going to project from my confirmed low for C. And you can see that's why I've chosen that this would be the area I'd be looking for, like some kind of a completion zone for a move like this. It could occur sooner, of course, but to me, this would be, we're well within the region of the back half of this move. We should be expecting a pretty impulsive move up into like this 5K, maybe even higher region. And I don't really get concerned until we lose like these last weekly lows here. Like, I guess we'd move our target from 3,800 down to, like, we'll call it the Q3 open at about 34, 35.80 from last year. So somewhere in that region, these weeklies, as long as they're holding, structure's fine.
Awesome. Magic, can we swap over to a Bitcoin chart?
Sure.
119.5. We saw that Sunday night rally into 122-ish. Why did that rally fail, do you think? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but was there levels that you had mapped out? What's your thesis on why we're not getting any follow through on these breakouts?
I didn't have anything really mapped out to the upside necessarily. What I'm really watching is closures at this point, but there was a setup at play that told you that you were going to at least make the attempt above the previous week high. So we talk about inside bars on this channel quite a bit, and we're going to do it again on the monthly time frame here in just a second. But you had a weekly inside bar. So you can see that this week did not take the high or the low of the previous week. And that almost never happens with Bitcoin. I shouldn't say almost never. It happens about 10 times a year. And it's only occurred twice in Bitcoin's history, 2 times in a row. So you have a pretty high probability that you're not going to range within this bar coming into this week. And so we also made a high over the weekend. So the weekly high came in on the weekend, which we know if that happens, you have a very high statistical probability that you're going to take that high within the next 5 days. And you have an inside bar from the previous week telling us that, well, if we're trending towards the high at the close of the week, we should expect a move above the high to open the week, and then maybe even a return back down into the weekly average. So for me, I'm not really concerned with the move that we have right now. You can see that last week's point of control is naked. If you were to turn on the pivot as well, which is, again, these hit anywhere from 77 to 82%, depending on what data set you look at. You can collect 100 or 200, but you can go back quite a few sets. So it's a high probability you come down into this 117 range. Not the end of the world, because again, we cruise on out to the monthly chart and we say, where is the most important areas on my monthly chart? And those are significantly lower, actually. So again, as long as we're above the monthly EQ, the weekly EQ doesn't really affect the trend, I guess. The moment we start losing that monthly EQ from last month, I should say, when we're stating that right here at 114, 164, that's when we can be concerned. But it would just look like a normal retracement as of right now. And one thing I would highlight is that if you look at things as a time basis, which I like to do, we've looked at the weekly because we know that the NPOC is here, but you could also shift out to the monthly. And what you'll notice is, this month is still developing, but the range is here. And so you would just be returning to the point of control in this region, along with a local gold pocket, right? So your 618 does come in here as well, just in that general area. Previous week EQ is there. And, I've ran stats on trading off of weekly inside bars. When you sweep the lows specifically, it's like an 80% rate that if you have a weekly inside bar and you take the weekly low first, you'll hit the previous week EQ and weekly pivot at an 80% rate. It's much lower when you take the highs, but collectively the data, if you were just to say, if I took that setup blindly, whether it was long or short, you're going to hit this zone here with a 60 to 70% win rate. So the trade would be lose the weekly SFP in the previous week high. I'm looking to trade into this zone here. And that's kind of your next major opportunity, in my opinion, in terms of like a trading area. So, if it holds this as support though, and we start rallying, go ahead.
I was going to say, that's also where the CME gap is, 117.5, I think.
Oh, yeah, good to know. But if it does start rallying and you're curious on like where I would start to, say, hey, things are starting to look different, just cruising out to I wouldn't say a low time frame, but the daily is still, it's a daily time frame. It's not something that we're waiting too long on. We've not closed a daily candle above $120,169.50. If you start seeing significant moves and pressure above this level and holding it as support, especially on daily closures, you may not see this because again, it's a probability that you hit it, not a guarantee. So There are going to be instances where it doesn't play, and that would kind of be your first indication that maybe we're not going to see that move. So for now, I hold my bias as we will probably see this area of the chart. People will shout from the heavens to buy, and the same on the opposite. People will shout that the bull market's over, and doom and gloom, and Trump's tariffs are going to crash the economy. So is what it is.
Great song, by the way. In Sync, bye. It's also in that Wolverine. Yeah. It's in that Wolverine movie, Wolverine Deadpool. It's a great movie. Magic. There's one more altcoin I'd like you to take a look at if you can, please, which is Chainlink. Chainlink's, what do I call it? The broccoli of crypto? It's good for you, but no one likes it. So that's not sexy. Like no one craves broccoli, but when you have it, wow, this is pretty good. So Chainlink's been on a run. I have a thesis on why, potentially. Can we take a look at a Chainlink chart? I see it loading up there. What do you got? Link against XRP?
Yeah, this is one we looked at here. It's just because I know that I keep Chainlink's chart and the non-shitcoin folder, so I had to open up a different chart where I keep it.
Damn, what are you doing? Jesus. Sorry, man.
But it is relevant, though, because XRP has been trending so hard. So, you can see that it is trying to put in some form of a reversal here against XRP, which is, there's something to be said because XRP has been one of the more strong performers here recently. So if it can confirm a reversal here back above the 2019 highs in terms of relationship, for people that are rotators that like to rotate their capital, you may consider Link. You may start looking at it and saying, man, if we get back above this 2019 high, this is a fast move down. I don't know that you can 100% say it's going to trade the same as a normal altcoin, but you would expect that this would fill and you'd get some action at least up to the 2022 open and gold pocket here. So in terms of the actual chart itself against USD, this is one I haven't updated in a long time. I've had the same levels, and it's, with altcoins, I typically always default to the macro chart just because I do on Bitcoin as well, but I just don't have the bandwidth to day trade every asset. And so I generally make some calculated portfolio size plays, I would say 80 to 85%.
Is that the notorious booby pattern, Magic? Put that chart back up there.
Booby pattern?
Yeah.
I think that's who's that guy that does Market Cipher? Jason Casper.
No,
he might know. I think he's the guy that asked for it.
CryptoFace.
He does
Jesus,
it. I feel like they're one and the same.
Yeah. Jesus, take the wheel. That's the booby. The booby pattern's my thing, so I don't want anyone jacking it. If you do, give me some credit at least. But yeah.
There you go.
Sorry,
I would say that with something like this, when you see it, a lot of people are going to look for head and shoulders, but on this, all I see is a higher low. And you are starting to exceed that shoulder over there if they were to look at it that way. So to me, as long as you're trending above 2023 and 2020 highs here, you'd be looking for a re-challenge of the highs up here around $30. This has not fulfilled all the targets I would like. And if we zoom in on the log chart, you can see that this has been, it's a pretty healthy chart. This is straight up, obviously, from the last cycle, but after a massive consolidation and a really healthy back test, holding very, very well, one would consider this a large consolidation as well, and that a breakout above $30 would constitute the idea that you're probably going to make new all-time highs. So I think you're going to get a re-challenge of this like $29, $30 region. If you can get back above this zone, all-time highs do seem like it's within the trend, and there's nothing on the chart to say that it won't. But if weakness enters the chart, it's going to enter below $17.67, it looks like.
Sweet. This is what I was referring to.
Oh.
Did I spell that wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, no, the B. It looks like a D, but it's a B. But yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it or not, I'm 36 years old. Some of you might not believe it from this drawing here, but I am of age.
You're telling us a lot about like what kind of boobs you like. That's all I know.
Wow.
We know it.
Shots fired, huh, Magic? Okay, Magic. Okay. All right, that's
the
fine.
gravity is strong on those boobies.
I'll throw that in the bank, bro. I'll throw that in the memory bank. Okay, Magic, I have a poll up. I'm curious. I want you to participate. You got to hold one until the 31st of December of this year. Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. What are you taking?
I mean, I've got targets above for all of them. So I would say that I think that Ethereum has the most potential to exceed my target at 5K, whereas I think XRP will hit like the $5 and some change. And then when you look at Solana, I'm looking for like 420, give or take. It's kind of a crapshoot. I think, where's XRP at today? I guess that would be the question. Where's XRP? 322.
Yeah.
You know what? We're at 4 on Ethereum. That's tough. It's kind of a crapshoot because I think all my targets are almost equidistant in percentage. I would say Ethereum because if it does break out, it has the most chance for, I think, higher continuation, as the other ones have performed already quite well. And I think Solana is capped in that 400s range. I don't see it getting over that. But I've been wrong before. So
okay. Magic, appreciate you as always. Guys, if you want more Magic Internet money, I'm going to prompt his Discord in the chat. Make sure to go hop in his Discord. He does do special live streams for Discord members. And so, Magic, as always, thank you very much, brother. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
All right. Let's get into it, Rob. Let's get into our top 3. Top 3 must holds. Okay. You want me to go first or you want to go first?
Why don't you pick one and then I'll pick one.
Okay. All right. I'll pick one. My first one that I'm picking now, my thesis for these are, am I going to be able to get a, let's say, 5 to 10x from these? Okay. That is where my head is at. Can I get a 5 to 10x? If the answer is yes, then it was considered.
I thought the thing was 10x. I didn't hear no 5 in there.
It was just top 3 holds. It wasn't
a 10x.
It wasn't a 10x. Did you read your message I sent you yesterday?
Yeah, it said 10x on there.
No, it did not. It said, oh, I did say 10x. My bad. Okay, 10. Hey, look.
So I'm shooting for 10x,
okay,
not 5x.
Right, okay, fair. My bad.
So bar okay. Has to be at least a 10x for
me.
I
think these can 10x. The first one, we're stretching a little bit. It's Aerodrome, okay? This thesis is very simple. It all comes down to the news I shared with you earlier with Coinbase and Aerodrome, what they're doing with the DEX integration on their platform. Now, take a look at this. $250 billion in volume. Aerodrome just surpassed 250 billion in all-time volume, growing 5 times faster this year compared to 2024. All before Aerodrome went live to millions of users on Coinbase. The #1 exchange in the United States. Aerodrome is front and center. It's got a market cap of $1 billion. Aerodrome is my first of 3 must-holds to the end of the year. What's your first one? Feel free to also talk about what I picked.
I like Aerodrome.
Yeah.
The only downside I have
is 10x.
I think the 10x is a tough one, but the reason I'm even prefacing this is because of my pick, and so it great. Being the base layer. Not quite as dominant as Solana. Maybe they
have a smirk on your face, bro. What do you have up your sleeve?
No.
What do you got up your sleeve?
Crazy. Here, I'll just show you. So my first is also a DEX. It's Radium.
Okay.
Now I think Radium something that's under the radar, but this is the kind of the go-to for Solana DEXs. AMA and. Smaller market cap, 800 million, but I do think that Solana will return to its glory or dominance when it comes to DeFi with the degens, not institutions, but I think that as retail comes in, you're going to see a flood of people participating in DeFi. What does that look like? Maybe it's token swaps, maybe it's NFTs, maybe it's RWAs, maybe it's a combination of all of that. Who knows? Maybe gaming ends up being something that gets into DeFi through the marketplaces of exchanging the assets like the NFTs, and so there's a lot of different plays here when it comes to DEXs. I think DEXs.
What's the market cap of this one?
$880 million.
So you're looking at $8 billion market cap.
Yeah,
reasonable.
And I think if you see in my kind of thesis. As we talked about Aerodrome yesterday, and what you're saying, I think you're pretty spot on. I think you're kind of picking your favorite to win the Super Bowl, the best team out of the AFC or best team out of the NFC. I think that's kind of how I'm lining this up. I think you got the 2 best layer 1s for DeFi for the retail user is Solana and Base. And hey, what are the DEXs that you think will get a lot of attention? I think Radium. For me, is a good play. I think that it's almost outside the top 100. Has a lot of room to run. Would not be surprised to see a $30 radium this bull market, especially if you see that $1,200 Solana. If you get a $1,200 Solana, I feel really confident that radium gets closer to that 10x, if not crosses it.
I'd rather take Jupe, but I get your point. I mean, that's I think that's solid. I want this chat to play along. So as we give 1 and 1, I want you guys to pick which one. Do you like my pick better or Robin's pick better? We'll get your opinion. Also, I did end the poll. Pick one to hold until December 31st of this year. XRP came in number 1 at 39%. Number 2 was Ethereum at 33%. And number 3 was Solana at 27%. Okay. Number 2. This is way down the risk curve. Not only do I think this thing has a 10x, I think this thing actually has a 100x. And that is D-King. D-King, you guys know I am uber bullish on this project. Look what it did with one sport. They're adding basketball, NFL, and I believe hockey this year. The number one, I mean, when you talk about teams of like quants, scientists, engineers, when you talk about CrunchDAO, you're talking about 7,000 people, okay? They've already proven, they've proven the project. They've proven the thesis. D-King has been on absolute fire. My cousin yesterday, who sports bets for a living, he does really fairly well, okay? Out of the blue, he's like, hey, man, D-King has been on an absolute roll. I was like, yeah, dude. I mean, you're seeing 180% ROI, 250% ROI. So the concept is proven. The team has proven they can raise money. The team has proven they can bring in money. Like a month ago, $300 million came into the ecosystem. And again, that was with one sport. Max is coming on the show tomorrow. We're going to talk about the rebrand. We're also going to talk about NFL, the NFL and the NBA integrations on D-King as well. So D-King at $17 million to me is extremely undervalued. And when you look at price action, when you look at just patterns, massive inverse head and shoulders pattern, okay? So D-King, I think, is a $100 million to $1 billion project. I know that is a massive gap. I know it's a massive gap, but I think not only can this thing 10x, I think it can 100x. So that's my second pick. Rob?
All right. My next one up, Loop Ring. Haven't heard about this in a while.
No,
this is outside the top 300. This it covers both of what I think is trending. 1, Ethereum. 2, it's DEX, and it's an easy to use DEX. It's a beautiful interface. Has not had any love this bull market. Yeah, this thing has got no love this bull market, but you could make an argument that because it hasn't had any love is maybe because ETH hasn't performed very well. No. Now you see ETH up in that $8,000 to $10,000 range. I would not be surprised to see major DEXs. I was on the fence. I was thinking Uniswap, but I don't think Uniswap will 10x at its market cap. So I'm going down the list. I'm like, what ETH DEXs can 10x? And well, going way down the risk curve, I wouldn't put any substantial amount of money on this. But you know what? If you wanted to turn 1,000 into 10,000 or potentially a lot more, I think Loop Ring might be a straight sleeper. If you haven't checked out the Loop Ring website and seen their UI, absolutely gorgeous. It reminds you of a regular centralized DEX but without the centralized authority. You get the decentralization of it. You get tons of altcoins. And so, yeah, I mean, it's still a ZK rollup. It's still a layer 2 scaling solution. So it's a ZK rollup DEX that circumvents the gas fees. So what happens if ETH? What happens if ETH?
Sorry, you are
let
wrong.
me ask you something. What happens if ETH gets to $10,000? Transactions are going through the roof. ETH's gas fees are extremely high, and people want to even swapping stable coins is going to cost you a lot of money on ETH. Why not use Loop Ring?
Rob, I love you, but I'm sorry to burst your bubble, my friend. DeFi's closed since the 31st. So they're strictly going to ZK rollups now. So for Ethereum users, Loopring Layer 2 will continue to operate as usual. All core features, including the fully will remain functional. All assets, however, all Loopring DeFi features will be permanently disabled. So, I guess your part. Okay.
Well, I was saying that the ZK rollups is
hate this
like
pick, bro. I hate this pick. Okay. Who you with? 1 for D-King, 2 for Loopring. I'm curious in the chat what you guys think. I could be wrong. I liked Loopring last cycle. Made a little bit of money on it, but
I mean, it got over $3.
Yeah,
and so I mean that's 100x away from where it's
yeah.
at,
I mean, if it gets there, I just don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't like that pick. Don't like that pick.
What? I mean, to take
personal.
To take a project outside the top 300, there's not a lot of picks you're gonna like. Right, it's all high risk, and that's my point. And so if you were to say, "Hey, I want to smack a home run," you go down the list, and you're in the. This isn't even the 200 here. Hold on, let's go to the top 300. So out of here, there's just you're kind of swinging for home runs here, and that's where I'm at. I mean, you got waves here. You got a bunch of antique coins here. I mean, Engine Coin, which is an NFT thing going on, which yeah. And Cody might have some legs. You have DeFi, a lot of touch points to banking, Visa. This looks like very lucrative, but just not a lot there. I mean, I just look at it from a home run perspective, man. It's just.
I mean, yeah, you have a lot of upside, but you have a lot of downside in my.
I mean, opinion. Obviously, Constellation DAG's also a good play here. Yeah.
The one thing I'll say, and we'll move off of this, and we'll go to our third picks, is I think Loopring, right? Because the whole idea behind Loopring when ETH was crazy expensive was we batch transactions and then we submit it all at once versus individual transactions that bog down the network and you pay high fees. I don't think ETH has that problem now.
No, that was my kind of idea is as ETH, but they have not addressed
the blob
their transactions. Well, they haven't addressed
a little bit
their gas fees. No, the only reason the gas fees are low and the transactions are lower is simply because there's less people doing degen shit.
I know
there was so much NFTs being minted.
They haven't solved it, but they've made it a little bit.
So what happens? Until the problem is fixed, the problem's going to arise again. If we find ourselves with retail piling in on crypto, ETH's at 10K, 12K, the problem will come back. It's not a question of will the gas fees be? No, the gas fees will be high. Transactions will be high, and people will either go to other crypto layer ones or they'll look for scaling solutions. There's the only two outcomes. You either say, hey, I don't want to pay the high gas fee. I don't want to keep having failed transactions. So I'll just go to BNB. I'll just go to Solana. That's exactly what we saw again. The problem has not been solved. If that problem pops back up, which it will, if they become dominant again, then scaling solutions are an option. Is it risky? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Third one. This is my ETH play. It's Eigenlayer. Eigenlayer outside the top 100 at 135, market cap of $500 million. Eigenlayer is restaking. It's got a lot of institutional love. And this is my thesis. My thesis for this, obviously ETH, but treasury. I think Eigenlayer will get a treasury, and I think it's going to send the token running. A 10x is a 5 billion market cap. I think that's totally feasible. We talk about Lido, Rocket Pool, the potential of that with staking. Well, what about restaking? Although I might not completely understand how the hell it works, people like it. People are using it. It's got a TVL of $20 billion. Price, market cap, $500 million. But again, the big thing with Eigenlayer for me in this pick is going to be them getting a treasury. I think they will. I think you're going to see a lot of projects get treasuries, and I think Eigenlayer is perfect. It's kind of slept on right now. I know it's up 27% on the day. You don't hear people talking about it. Had a really hyped launch. Everyone was excited, right? Take a look at the one-year chart. It had a massive spill off from $5.60 down to a low of around 65 cents. And it's been slowly climbing up. I think Eigenlayer, to me, would be an easy 10x if it gets that treasury. So my last one is Eigenlayer. What's your last one?
My last one, and I'm being dead ass serious.
It's going to be some so retarded. Okay, what?
I'm being dead serious here. Just going to go ahead and mention it. I'm going with Fartcoin.
Shut the fuck up.
Fartcoin, number 80 on the market cap list. Okay. This thing, to get up to a 10x, this has to get to about the SHIB market cap. Not far. To get to a 5x is to get to Pepe's market cap. You have the newest big, it's the newest big crypto, right? We saw it. We saw Pepe get a run, and then it took off. We saw SHIB get a run, it took off. We saw Bonk get a run and take off. And we're seeing Fartcoin.
We saw your brain get a run and take off. Are you okay?
I feel very confident. It just got a listing on
I like
Coinbase.
Fartcoin better than Loopring though.
It has a Coinbase listing. It's got everything for a meme coin. So it has the liquidity there. It's low on the market cap. It's the new shiny meme coin that's in the top 100. And so when you look at the meme coin list, there's not a lot of sexy plays there, right? You got Dog with Hat. That one's kind of old. You got Floki. That's ancient.
Hey, chill out, fool.
And so if you're gonna say, hey, meme coins are gonna rally, they're gonna get their turn. What meme coin would you expect?
You know what?
To catch community?
I take back my reaction. I overreacted. I don't think this is a bad pick. I don't. Yeah.
I mean, you don't. It can get to number 30 in the market cap list by 5x.
Fartcoin's got some big whales.
It seems like it has a lot of the characteristics that you saw out of Bonk and Pepe. And I mean, I'm not advocating
Fartcoin
for
gets a treasury.
I don't know. I don't know what it does. I'm just saying that from the meme coin mania, and also take this into account. Fartcoin came out after the Solana kind of craze. So it rose up to its market cap that it's at now after the meme coins were kind of on the way down. It was the one outlier. It was the one that grew while others were capitulating. And I think once meme coins take off again, which we know meme coins are going to get their run again at some point in this bull market, probably within the next 60 days at some point, I think that one's positioned for a nice 10x.
Brian Baca with a $2 super chat said, Sin City Crypto, hit the like. Hola, yes. Okay. I don't have a problem with Fartcoin. Let me ask you, just make this one really quick. Fartcoin or Pengu?
I think that Fartcoin has... Pengu has got a lot of momentum, and it's just rallied really, really well. And so I think it's going to slow down, man.
Huh.
Where's Pengu at? Number 45. It's also an airdrop. It hasn't been out that long. It just seems like it's got some capitulation
Pengu's
to come.
going to 50 cents, dog.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
50 cents? You're
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. It's going to 50 cents.
You think it's going to be a $40 billion market cap?
Yep.
No.
Yep. Drew Webb said his IBS is acting up. Sorry, man.
Yeah, I mean the Dogecoin isn't even at 40 billion.
SHIB was at 44 last cycle. I like Pengu, man. I like Pengu. I like Luca. Luca's a good dude. Okay. That was fun. Now, obviously, there's a lot more, but the rule was 10x. Okay. And I believe all the ones I listed, I believe can 10x. I think Rob agrees. Unless you like lost some bet to a homeless person and you had to pick Loopring, that one was 100% out of left field. You had so many options on ETH ecosystem that I can't believe you went to Loopring. But maybe you'll be right and you'll be making fun of me. And
somebody write Loopring down. We'll revisit this price.
Okay. Yeah.
If ETH gets to $10,000,
Loopring 10x's?
Loopring 10x.
Okay. Gina, can you write this down, timestamp? If ETH gets to 10K, Loopring will 10x. I hope you're right. Well, ChatGPT 5 is out. And Rob, someone asked it, pick 3 cryptos to buy and hold forever. And this is what ChatGPT 5 said. Okay. Shocker, Bitcoin was his first pick as the bedrock. Second pick, Ethereum as the, quote, productive asset. And his third pick was Chainlink as the infrastructure bet. Now, speaking of infrastructure, I mentioned L1s. Robin, Strike is developing a blockchain called Tempo in partnership with Paradigm, described as high-performance, payments-focused blockchain. Okay? Stripe. Number 2, Circle has unveiled Arc, a USDC native layer 1. Public testnet launches September through November of this year. This is from Circle, a home for stablecoin finance. It is an open layer 1 blockchain purpose-built to drive the next chapter of financial innovation powered by stablecoins. ARC features USDC as native gas, built-in foreign exchange engine, deterministic sub-second finality, opt-in privacy, full Circle platform integration.
You think Ripple's looking at this announcement and saying like, oh, crap?
That's a good question, man. I don't know. Maybe. Here,
they're catering to U.S. users. They're facilitating stablecoins, which XRP already got way late into the game.
Yeah. With our
Circle already has the liquidity in the major exchanges. It's the golden child for stablecoins, and now you're creating a layer 1 to move your stablecoin around, and you're essentially adding smart contract capabilities to an extent. It seems like a shot at Ripple. I mean, my personal opinion.
I don't think it's a shot at. We're going to talk about that here.
I don't think they have a problem with Ripple, but I just think they're like, hey,
like we can do better.
Yeah, exactly. Like we got the liquidity. Strike while the iron's hot.
We got the licenses, and I'm not saying Ripple doesn't have licenses. Okay, but Rob, here's some thoughts from some people in our space. Okay. mteam.eth said big companies launching L1 is kind of a rejection of the layer 2 thesis, but it's even more of a rejection of the Solana thesis. That's one person's opinion. Now, Mert, which is part of the Solana ecosystem, said, call me crazy, but all these corporations launching layer 1s is likely bullish Chainlink. So what do you take out of this news? Does it say more about layer 1s like ETH and Solana that these large companies are deciding to spend the money and resources to create their own layer 1s versus building on top of a network that's been proven and secured? What does this tell you? And looking forward, how are you positioning yourself? Does this spell doom for the L1s like Near Protocol, like Hedera, like Algorand? Like, I don't know. I mean, we talk about stable coins are going to work on the block. Circle has their own blockchain. Payments are going to... Stripe is launching their own blockchain. I think this is pretty big news, in my opinion. What are your thoughts?
I look at it from, cool, everyone can launch their own blockchain, the same way that during the internet revolution, everyone launched their own internet-based company. But a lot of it didn't make sense. It was just to show face. You had a sneaker company. You didn't have the logistics to have an online retail store. You didn't invest in a retail store. You just simply said, "Hey, we got a website," and then it pumped. But there were a few that did very well.
Hey, we got a website. Just pumped.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it took. And so, can you create a layer 1? Sure, 100%. Now, there are going to be a couple companies that create layer 1s that are going to be wildly successful. And I think that Circle is probably there, right? I think it makes the most sense. If you're if you're part of the Circle's company and you're thinking about like, hey, can we do this right? Is now the right time? I think that the answer to that is yes. At the same time, if you're a small bank, if you're outside of crypto and you're like, let's launch a layer one, like good luck. There's a lot of competition there. You're probably just going to be drowned out. Maybe you make some quick money on some airdrop bull crap. I don't know. But it's only going to be a handful of winners. And the ones that you're expecting to come back are going to just, a lot of those are going to die. And it's just unfortunate.
So, okay, so what do you think this means for Ripple?
It's not, it depends.
You asked a question.
No, I mean, the thing is I don't know. It's worth a conversation, right?
I think it's a good question. I just want to get your thoughts.
I'll say it this way. I'm not at all in a camp like, oh, hey, this is really bad for a Ripple. But if they end up being successful, they end up getting adoption, they end up, getting banks to use it, they get exchanges to use it, people are using layer one. If that happens, then, well, users are going to be using it. And that means users are not going to be using competitors. And it just seems like that is the wheelhouse for Ripple. The thing is Ripple stablecoin just doesn't have a lot of listening. When's the last time you heard of RLUSD being used anywhere outside of...
You don't.
Yeah, exactly. Now people are using Circle. And so if you have...
I agree.
And the gas fee is the stablecoin. That's pretty... okay, think about it from gas fee perspective. It's... hey, I want to send a transaction through ETH. I want to send it through Tron. I want to send it through, PancakeSwap or BNB. Just name anyone. You always pay the native token. It's like, hey, you got to have a little bit of this token set aside. You need to have ADA to send. You need to have BNB to send. You got to have this. But what are you sending usually? Usually the stablecoin, right? At some point, you're going to get out of it into a stablecoin. So you're always like, you always got to have the native token, even though you don't want to use it, right? You're like, how many times have you said, do you got ETH in your wallet? I'm like, Now imagine this. You don't need anything else but the stablecoin. So, hey, I got $1,000 worth of Circle, and I need to buy $1,000 worth of said token. The gas fee is the same token that you cash out. It's the same token that you onboard and offboard. It's the same token that does the gas. It's no extra step. It makes too much sense.
I think this is uber bullish for Chainlink. I think this is bearish for Avalanche. Their like big push, like for them to be the hub of launching L1s on Avalanche. I don't know, man. I think this is going to have a larger effect to the market, and I think it's going to harm a lot of projects. We just don't know which ones yet. But I'd be very weary.
I'm very curious to see what Avalanche does in this next altcoin rally.
Because Avalanche 9000, the whole marketing campaign was launch your L1 using the Avalanche the Avalanche stack.
But they do have a lot of verticals. They have the gaming, they have the RWAs, they have the stablecoins, they have the sub layer.
Yeah,
and so they're pretty well positioned. I will say I am nervous about Avalanche's direction because they're in a sea of layer ones that are all competing for your attention, and they're not winning that right now. However, they do have an ETF in the pipeline. They are the leader in layer ones when it comes to gaming. And so if gaming comes back in crypto, which I think it is, Avalanche makes the most sense. Also, the ETF plus RWAs plus its touch points to U.S. government, it seems well positioned. But once again, there's a lot of competitors, and I can see a scenario. I will just say this. If it underperforms expectations in this next altcoin rally, then I might write it off. I might shift away from Avalanche. But like, let's just say, for example, Solana gets to $1,000. ETH is at 10K. You have Cardano at $4. If Avalanche isn't in some beautiful price discovery, I'm writing it off.
I would keep my eye on Chainlink and like Axelar, and I would be weary of these other L1s outside of the top like 5. Because I mean, like my bullish case, my base case for XLM exploding was stablecoin value. And if Circle, if they have their own L1, it kind of like is a, what do they call it? A conflict of interest? I don't know. It's new. It's early. I would just have your antennas up. Okay, have your antennas up. And
when Amazon said, "Hey, we're gonna get into web services," everyone was like, "Crap."
That's what I'm saying.
You know, they're like, "Crap," because you're already the internet global giant for shopping. Now you decided
you can
to do networking.
Yeah, you can come in and destroy everyone on the market.
Right now, the dominant stablecoin company is Circle, and now they're saying, "Hey, we're going to do layer ones." And so, I think other people are like, "Crap."
Yeah, just beware. That'll do it for the show today. Today was a really good show. Big thanks to Magic. Big thanks to all of you. If you're not subbed to the channel, make sure to do so. We do have an HBAR video that is live on the channel. We posted that before we went live. Check that out. Stay in the chat. Our boy Alex O Crypto is running the trading stream over at Sistine Research or Sistine Trading. You'll be automatically redirected to there. Drop an O line there. Okay, let them know you guys are there. I love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Gina, roll the outro. Can't hear the outro. The music's playing. This is great. Big shout out to Cassius Coupe. Great song, by the way. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.